After replacing the bandsaw blade, it's important to properly adjust the tension on the blade. And what we're going to show you here today is how to properly adjust it using the Flutter method. And to do that, replace the blade as specified in the instructions in the book that came with the saw. In this case, it's got a scale on the back of the saw that tells you where to set the tension given the width of the blade. In this case, I've got a 1/2 inch blade on here, and we've got a mark here that shows where it should be set at the 1/2 inch mark. So set it up initially using those specifications. And what we're going to do is back tension off of the blade until the blade itself starts to flutter back and forth a little bit. And once that happens, then we're going to gradually increase the tension until that fluttering goes away. Turn it another quarter turn after that until you've got a perfectly straight line on the blade, and then that'll be it. So in order to do that, we've got to remove any of the guides that might be touching the blade. So to do that, I'm first going to raise the guide up, this guide assembly, as high as it will go, so that I can see as much of the blade as possible. Then I'm going to loosen the guides and the thrust bearing. To do that on this saw, basically just turning a set screw here to loosen these guides, and then backing off the bearings a little bit. I'm going to snug that back up just so that they can't move back and forth. Then I'm going to adjust this thrust bearing so that it's backed off. And now on the top side, there's nothing touching that blade. We need to do the same thing on the bottom. So to do that, basically it's the same procedure. I'm going to move that thrust bearing backwards. And I get down underneath the saw so I can see it. Loosen up the guide bearings away from the saw blade. And just snug that back up so it doesn't move. So at this point, there's nothing touching the blade. I can move it around all I want. It's still got tension on it. So what I'm going to do next is to turn it on, go to the back of the saw, and start taking tension off until I see that flutter. All right, I can apply power now because the guides are all shut. And I'm standing clear of it. And then I'm just going to gradually decrease the tension on the saw blade until I see it moving back and forth, fluttering. Okay, it's starting to come in now. I'll see if I can get a little more flutter so you can easily see it. All right. There's an extreme amount of flutter there. So you can see what it's doing. So now we're going to gradually increase the tension on the blade until that goes away. And I've almost have to look straight on at the blade so I can see it. Right, there's a great deal of tension. So it may come and go while you're doing this procedure, but you'll get to a point where it will go away. All right, at this point, the fluttering has stopped, and I'm looking straight on, and I see it's perfectly straight. So at that point where the flutter has gone away, then you turn it 1/4 of a turn more, and then it's properly tensioned. And then that's it. That's all there is to it. Then you just go back and readjust the thrust bearing and the guides according to the manufacturer's recommendations, and you're all set.